Cole Mausolf with ESPN Honolulu, and today we're bringing you another episode of Athletes presented by Central Pacific Bank. Joining me today for episode 6 of Athletes, we got a man who might be the fastest guy in all of Hawaii. We got HBA, track and field, Gatorade Player of the Year, Shane-Kawakami Williams. Appreciate you being on the show, bro.
Thank you so much for having me.
Shane, so before we start with some longer form questions, we want to start with some quick hitters just to get the viewers a little more comfortable with you. So my first question for you is, who is your favorite track and field athlete of all time?
I'd say Arion Knighton.
Arion, I'm not familiar.
He's this like young guy who came up when he was 17 years old and like made the Olympics. And he's just been like showing like high schoolers that like you can compete at the next level. And I think that's really inspiring. Awesome.
What are you craving to eat after a long day at the track and field?
Always, I like Popeyes.
Popeyes. What's your order?
8 tenders. If it's after a track meet, it's 8.
Besides track, what sport do you think you could have played?
I don't really
Be honest. Be honest. Say what you said before the show started.
I think I could have played football, but I would have needed to have been training since I was like 5 years old and built a lot more muscle.
Right. What's your dream job besides being in the Olympics for track and field?
I want to be a PT when I'm older, and yeah, come move back to Hawaii. So.
Mount Rushmore of track and field athletes from Hawaii first, and then all time after that.
From Hawaii, probably do Tatum Moku, Tanner Moku, Brian Clay, and Madison Moku.
How about all time? I like those answers, by the way.
All time I go Usain Bolt, Michael Johnson, David Rudisha.
Dude, you are
a nerd.
Dang. Name 3 essentials you can't live without.
I'd say water.
Of course.
My phone.
Okay.
And a pair of shoes.
A pair of shoes?
Pair of shoes.
What kind of shoes?
Any shoes. Running shoes maybe. Any shoes.
Hobbies outside of sports.
Sometimes I like to just hang out with my friends and do whatever they're doing. I like to go beach. Sometimes just like maybe play video games with my friends. Yeah.
Where did you get your jeans from? Your athletic jeans, mom or dad? Or both?
I'd say my dad, because he was really tall and muscular maybe.
Yeah. Shout out Pops. Which high school did you consider a rival in track and field?
HBA isn't really rivals with anybody in track. Let me think. Who's like closest? I'd say Hanalani.
Hanalani. That's a school. What runner challenged you most in your high school career? Who's a guy who's just he was a beast?
I got like 2-3 answers for this. I can't. It's hard to pick one. I might have to say. It's so hard to pick one. Might have to say Casey Cano from St. Louis.
Okay.
He was a beast, and I met him back in like the summer of 10th grade when we were training together. And yeah, he would always push me during practice nonstop. He'd be beating me. He beat me in races this year, last year, all the time. He'd always be there, and he really pushed me. Okay,
Shane. Food has arrived. In front of me, we got the Kahlua pork sandwich with the truffle fries. Truffle fries to share. And then you're healthy. You gotta stay fit for track and field season, so you got the grilled chicken salad. I wanted to ask you a question to start it off, and then you can dig in. I'm curious, what got you into track and field when you were younger? Because I feel like most kids play soccer, play baseball, play football. What got you into track and field initially?
I played like soccer and basketball growing up.
Right.
Mainly with soccer, like when I was a young kid. I really liked to run, and I thought I was quick.
Right.
But I just liked to run, and I always kind of thought like if there was track and all that, I would definitely do it. So as a 7th grader at HBA, I started track, and yeah, it pretty much came from soccer though.
Was track something that came kind of natural to you? Like, were you good at it when you first started off?
No, I was very, very bad when I started off. I mean, I would get last place at races. I'd be happy. It would be a good day if I got second to last. Yeah.
And we were talking kind of before the show that you went through some struggles in high school with injuries, some other stuff. Can you talk about these moments and how you physically and mentally got through them?
Probably like the biggest one for me was on the, like last year, on the day of AthlEATS finals, I got COVID. And that just felt like the world was falling apart. I was like, why now? You know, like why now on this day? I was ready to run it, I was ready to win it, but I just couldn't. And I just had to accept the fact that there's nothing I can do. I was gonna try to get better as quick as I could, but there's nothing else I could do except for just try my hardest. I got through it. Nothing really came from that season, but I just like kept like staying in.
And even this year, you got hurt, right? Midway through the season, I think?
Yeah, it was actually the very start of the season. The second meet, I pulled up in a race and I hurt my hamstring kind of, not too bad, but it was bad enough to sit me out for like almost a month, 3 weeks. But through that all, I just had to like keep it in my head that the season wasn't over. Because, you know, it felt like it was over. And I'm already committed to college. I could have just gave up. I didn't need to have a good last, you know, senior season, but I really wanted to stay in it and just try and fight, and that's the main thing, is all mental.
Yeah. Fast forwarding to States, you won the 400 meter race and the 100 meter race at States. Talk to me about that feeling in those moments after you've gone through all of that adversity.
Yeah, that was crazy. It felt like the fulfillment of like the whole season. I just like everything I worked for, finally got it. I totally, the 100 was crazy because I did not expect to win that race at all. I would have been cheering the same way if I got second place. I really just wanted to go out there and run a good time, but I ended up winning, so it was a really, really good feeling. But the 400, it felt more like relief and like finally like it was done, because it's a scary race to run, and I really wanted to win it. So when I won it and the season was over, it was great.
So you compete in multiple events like in a day in track and field. Is there any like fatigue that happens throughout the day because you are competing in so many events?
Yes, yeah. I personally, I don't compete in that many events compared to, you know, some other people. I only do 2, but the 400 is a really tiring event. I always say that the track meet is over after I run the 400. I don't want to run anything after it. It's terrible, but you know, sometimes like you have to run a relay after the 400. You might have to do 2 400s in one day. It sucks, but it's something you just got to do and push through. Yeah.
For those of us who don't follow track as much, besides the Olympics, right? We don't know how hard it is on the body and how taxing track and field can be in the body. Do you think track and field has some of the best athletes in the world?
Definitely. I think some of the most well-rounded, like 100% athletes come from stuff like decathlon, where they're strong, they're fit, they're fast, they're everything.
Brian Clay, right?
Yeah, Brian Clay.
That's crazy to be that good in like so many different events. I mean, that takes a world-class athlete for real. This upcoming year, you're enrolling in Occidental College. You're going to compete in track and field. Talk to me about the recruiting process of landing at Oxy, and was there any other schools that you kind of were deciding between?
Occidental was, you know, a school that like, it immediately came up because my mom told me about it and all that, like, oh, President Obama went there, yeah. I wasn't really like super into it at first, but when I visited the first time, it felt pretty nice, and then I got invited to visit a second time and have like a whole day around campus with the team. It was just like, loved me. It felt like home. The whole campus was nice. The people there were nice. The coach was nice. Everything was just nice. And it was that day that I was pretty certain that I wanted to go there.
What advice would you give to younger athletes, especially athletes who want to pursue track and field and are doubting themselves or facing setbacks like you did?
It's all mental. You know, there's a massive physical aspect, of course, to track, but it starts in the head. You know, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you can, you know, do great things, no matter how far down you are, no matter how set back you are, no matter anything. You know, you just have to believe in yourself and just try your hardest. Right.
So when you're running, this is my last question too. When you're running the 400 meter race, and you do it in record time, is that at all in your mind? Like, I need to like set a world, or not a world, but a Hawaii like record pace. Like, goes through your mind when you're running?
Yeah, I think about that at the start line. I'm like, you know, I want to run like a great time out here. I have like my goal timeline. I have everything in mind. As soon as the race starts, it all just disappears. My mind goes blank. I have like a race strategy, but you know, that's all I'm really thinking of until like the ending part of the race.
Right.
When I'm there, and my man Kaino is right next to me. When I'm there, I'm just thinking, don't lose. I can't lose. You can do anything you can and not lose. I'm just thinking that.
At the finish line, talk to me about why these athletes like what's the technique to do that? Do you get coached up on that, or are you just lean forward and it's self-explanatory? Like, what is that? What goes into that?
Yeah, so the dip is something that but like a lot of athletes do at the end of their races, whether it's, you know, sprints or distance. More commonly seen in sprints, yeah.
Right.
Because the margins are so close. Sometimes you can win a race by like dipping. The finish line camera, it doesn't count at like your feet, so you can't like throw your foot across. It counts at like the midsection area. So if you throw your shoulders across and all that, it'll count there. And yeah, everyone dips now. It's fun to do also.
It takes some seconds off, like some real seconds, like tenths of a second that matter. That's why, right?
Yeah.
That's another episode of AthlEATS. Thank you to the Surfing Pig for providing the food today, and thank you, Shane, for stopping by. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. That's it for us. In Kamuki, we're out.